Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson, and we're continuing our study of the Beatitudes, and we're going to be in Matthew chapter 5, and we are looking at the second of the Beatitudes, which are, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." We talked early on about the word makarios, which is translated in the ESV that I'm using and is translated in the New American Standard that I often use and the King James that I grew up with as blessed. But in many modern translations is translated as happy. And we talked about makarios meaning something more than just a sensation of pleasure or pleasantness, that it's more than just that. That it's about things achieving a happy ending. It's about things being put into equilibrium. It's about the pursuit of happiness that was mentioned in the Declaration of Independence, the ability to pursue and to enjoy a productive and rewarding life. And these are the elements that will make for that rewarding and productive life. And they're not the things that we would think. We talked about being poor in spirit yesterday and starting from a place where we recognize our own insufficiency. The poverty meant not just not having very little, because they all were poor. That word specifically means to be beggarly, to be unable to support yourself and to be in need of someone else to provide for you. And we start with that recognition. And then he says, "Blessed are they who mourn, for they will be comforted." Understanding that when we say happy or makarios, blessed, we're not talking about a sensation of pleasure, but about something deeper and richer. Something that is based in joy, that is itself based in truth. I grew up going to a lot of funerals. You just do, back home in the Ohio Valley from the time you're little. And back home in the Ohio Valley, even to this day, funerals are as much family reunions in their time of getting to see folks you haven't seen in a while and giving them hugs and enjoying their company. And so there's a lot of laughter and sweetness about the funeral itself. But day of, when you've lost someone that you really loved, it's just awful. It's just awful. And it's awful for Christians as well, although it's different. But then there is being around people you love who feel as awful as you do, and then somebody puts their arm around you, or you put your arm around them, and maybe you shed a tear together and you hug each other, and there is something just irreplaceably sweet about that. That's not like anything else. And it only happens because you're sharing the same grief. And then for the Christian, and I do lots of funerals, and for me every time, and funerals are sacred moments to me. Paul says they are, because we don't grieve as do the others who have no hope. And we're going to talk about that verse in just a second. The best thing about a funeral is going to that passage in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, where Paul says, we don't want you to be uninformed. We don't want you to grieve as do the others who have no hope, because if you believe Jesus was raised from the dead, you believe we're going to be raised from the dead. And there's going to be a day, this eschatological consciousness that fills the Beatitudes, fills the rest of the New Testament. There's going to be a day when there's going to be a shout, the voice of the archangel, and the dead in Christ are going to rise first, and then we're going to rise with them, and we're all going to meet Jesus in the air, and we're never going to be parted again. Therefore, comfort one another with these words. And I have the burden, which I perform at every funeral, of reading those words. And I say, folks often say, you don't know what to say at a funeral, but I do, because Jesus tells me what to say. Paul tells me what to say, and this is what he told me to say. And then I read those verses, and then I say, I'm bringing you this comfort. That's what this is about. If we begin by understanding our own insufficiency, then the next thing is to realize that there is real comfort. I mean, we grieve for all those things that we don't have, those things that we have lost. We grieve for the things that we have destroyed and thrown away. Not everything that we don't have has been lost. Many things of value we have destroyed on our own and we've thrown away. And we grieve for those things worse than all, worse than any others. Especially after we start to see things through blood-colored glasses, because we understand our own culpability in the grief that we are experiencing. But in Jesus, there's comfort. There is the knowledge that there is forgiveness and there is reunion, and that those things are absolute and cannot be taken from us. And is there anything else that we're given better than that? More necessary than that? I'd be hard-pressed to find something more so. Okay, well, that's my best attempt at thinking about blessed are they who mourn. Next time, we're going to be talking about the meek and what it means to inherit the earth. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes.